It started around 1911, 1912, when an uncle of mine gave me a Eastman Kodak folding camera number 3 as a birthday present. And I started to photograph right away. And one of my first pictures was this picture in Berlin, the Grunewald Lake. I put the film in a wooden frame and exposed it to the sun to develop in daylight. And I was amazed up to the day that it's possible to photograph and see the pictures. And I was rather satisfied until an acquaintance of mine who lived across the street came to me and says, "But look, you can enlarge this here. You can do this and this." Enlarging, what's this? You showed me a contraption of a wooden box with a frosted light inside, frosted bulb. You can move up and down. And that was that second when the photo bug bit me. And I saw enormous possibilities.
70 years later, Alfred Eisenstaedt, now aged 85, is still busily taking photographs. Eisenstaedt has been called the father of photojournalism, the man who invented the candid camera. At a time when television did not exist and newspapers carried few pictures, he was one of the first to photograph concerts, literary meetings, political rallies and social events. Working for the Associated Press in Germany and later for Life magazine in America, he has probably photographed more famous people than any other photographer. His pictures of musicians, writers, actors and politicians of pre-war Germany are a unique historical record of events which shaped much of our present-day life.
On the 3rd of December 1929, I became professional, and 6 days later I was around Stockholm, did my first assignment for the Associated Press as a freelance photographer. It was the Nobel Prize Award for Literature, Thomas Mann, for the Buddenbrooks. Behind him sits Selma Lagerlöf, the great Swedish author who also got a prize. After the session was over, the Nobel Prize, Thomas Mann addressed fellow scientists and other people backstage.
On an occasion like this, were there many photographers around?
No, not many, but there were about 3. There were probably Keystone was at that time probably the Associated Press, and I don't know the others. But you were always dressed properly, not in the fashion today, not in jeans. It didn't exist at that time, no. But you had to be dressed always properly.
On all your assignments?
On all assignments, always tie. Oh yes, definitely. I had a cutaway, I had later on tails and black tie and so on.
Would you take many photographs in order to get this
No, this was done with glass plates. I took 1 picture, and when somebody moved was very bad, I took 2, because you see, they were very heavy in my pockets. My pockets, especially my pockets for my tails and black tie, were reinforced because I had to carry so many glass plates and steel holders. At the same time, I did also the confirmation of 3 babies with their proud fathers. Notice the fashion. Everybody in Germany had these collars, how do you call it?
Stiff collars.
Stiff collars, yes. Now, this is what I love. This is a toy society in Berlin. And here, elderly men, again with stiff collars, you know, it's impossible today, naturally, assemble some rails on the floor of the society. Now, every good German at that time had to have an aquarium, tropical fish, guppies, Siamese fighting fish, some goldfish, and so on. This is the aquarium society. All these people have, again, stiff collars. I went to East Prussia and photographed an agricultural school. They were milking cows, and not to carry this, they had their little stools, milking stools, attached to their back. Also at the same school I photographed coachmen of Prussian Junkers learning how to hold the reins of horses. They look like Junkers themselves. And I photographed Albert Heim, a butcher shop. At that time it was 370 years old. At this butcher shop the Frankfurters were invented. And these are 3 generations of butchers, all called Heim. I think it was around 1931, or he is 25, it was around 1930 or 1931. I was sent to, by the Associated Press at that time, to the island, Baltic island of Hiddensee, in the Baltic, to photograph the great German author Gerhard Hauptmann. And this is not a pose picture. He really was walking on the beach, and to me he looked like a personification of Wolfgang von Goethe, a Goethe-like figure. I met him and snapped him with a Mirrorflex camera, you know. I'm amazed that it is so sharp. But later the same day, I wanted to try some formal picture. But when I look at this picture today, I'm amazed how bad I was at that time. I mean, it couldn't happen to me. You know what bothers me is this. It wouldn't happen today anymore. You see, today, you know how I photograph today? I look always at the background first. That's the difference. The light is fine, but this shouldn't happen here. See, this is not nice, not good. Many people have asked me time and again, how is it possible that you could take so many pictures of musicians and conductors and singers and then didn't object? The reason is because there was only one Eisenstaedt around. There was no other photographer around who did that type of thing in the early 30s. And I had the Urmanox camera, the first so-called candid camera with glass plates. This is Wilhelm Furtwängler, photographed at the Berlin Philharmonic in 1932. As you see, people listening to the concert are very attentive. He plays, I remember, the Fifth Symphony by Beethoven. I was sitting usually in the first front row when singers were there, or between the members of the orchestra. And no question were asked, and I got permission, because I was dressed like them and everybody thought I'm a musician myself. That's the reason I could do all these things. Here I'm sitting among the musicians, dressed in a dark suit with my tripod between my legs and photographing. I photographed from the same place, from the same position, Igor Stravinsky, young Igor Stravinsky. I don't know whether he played Petrushka or something like this, probably he did.
Were people shocked by his music?
I don't remember that, because you see, I hardly listened to music, because I was, at that time, it happens the same thing if somebody learns how to drive a car. You pay attention to all the movements you do. This didn't come automatically as in later years. Now everything comes more or less automatically.